The ocean is vast, ancient, and patient, and it's never truly empty. Imagine being trapped hundreds of meters below its surface. The sound of metal creaking all around you, oxygen dwindling, the temperature dropping by the minute. The world above keeps spinning, oblivious, while your world shrinks to a few steel walls and the sound of your own breath. That's the nightmare of a submarine disaster. Submarines are marvels of human engineering, pressure-resistant, stealthy, and built to explore or defend. But the same qualities that make them powerful also make them unforgiving when something goes wrong. There's no emergency exit at 1,000 feet. No sunlight. No second chances. Each of the following stories reveals just how fragile our dominance over the deep really is. Try this. Next time you see an image of a submarine gliding through calm waters, remember, it's moving through one of the most hostile environments on Earth. That hostility came sharply into focus in the year 2000, when the world watched and waited for a miracle that never came. The Kursk was Russia's pride, a nuclear-powered attack submarine and a symbol of post-Soviet naval might. On the 12th of August 2000, it took part in a large-scale naval exercise in the Barents Sea. But within minutes of launching a torpedo, a catastrophic explosion ripped through the forward compartment. Sonar operators on nearby ships heard two deafening blasts, one after another. At first, Russian officials claimed everything was under control. Then, silence. The Kursk wasn't responding to calls. Families were told to remain calm. Days passed before Moscow admitted the truth. The submarine was on the seabed, its crew trapped inside. Inside, in total darkness, survivors gathered in the aft compartment. A note later found on Lieutenant Captain Dmitry Kolesnikov's body listed 23 names, the men who had survived the initial blast. He wrote calmly, almost clinically, "All others are in the 9th compartment. We feel the pressure increasing. We won't last long." That note became their collective voice when the sea had taken the rest. Meanwhile, rescue attempts faltered. Offers of international help were initially refused. Pride and politics took precedence. By the time divers finally reached the wreck 9 days later, it was too late. Every sailor was gone. The footage of the Kursk being raised months later, its hull mangled, its nameplate still intact, remains one of the most haunting images in naval history. The lesson? Pride may build ships, but humility saves lives. Try this. Next time you're in charge of something big or small, ask yourself if ego is steering the ship. But the Kursk wasn't the first to vanish into the deep. Nearly 4 decades earlier, a test dive off the U.S. coast ended in silence too. The USS Thresher was supposed to be the future of the American submarine fleet, a symbol of precision and power. On the 10th of April 1963, during deep diving tests off Cape Cod, something went terribly wrong. A pipe joint in the engine room burst, flooding the system with seawater. The sub's reactor shut down, and with it, all power. The Thresher began to sink. The crew fought to blow the ballast tanks, but the compressed air lines had frozen from moisture. The last garbled message received from the sub was, "Experiencing minor difficulties." Moments later, sonar picked up a sound that haunts every submariner: the crushing implosion of a steel hull collapsing under immense pressure. The sub had gone past its crush depth, disintegrating instantly. It was later estimated that the Thresher imploded at more than 2,400 feet, releasing energy equivalent to a small bomb. The disaster led to the U.S. Navy's SubSafe program, a safety overhaul that has since saved countless lives. The Thresher's legacy is that sometimes the price of progress is written in saltwater and silence. Try this. When designing anything, from a ship to a plan, assume it will fail and build it to survive that failure. As terrifying as the Thresher's implosion was, the mystery surrounding the USS Scorpion takes fear to another level because no one truly knows what happened. The year was 1968, the height of the Cold War. The USS Scorpion, a skipjack-class nuclear submarine, was returning from the Mediterranean with 99 crew members aboard. On May 22, it went silent, vanishing somewhere in the Atlantic. The Navy listed it as missing, presumed lost. Months later, debris was found 10,000 feet below the surface, near the Azores. The wreckage was shattered, its bow torn open. What caused it? Theories multiplied. Some experts believed a torpedo accidentally detonated inside the sub. Others whispered of a Soviet attack, covered up to avoid escalation. The most eerie theory came from within. A malfunctioning torpedo may have hot run inside the sub, turning, arming itself, and detonating before it could be ejected. What's most chilling are the fragments of messages intercepted before the disappearance, reports of equipment malfunctions, sonar issues, and crew exhaustion. It all suggested something was wrong long before the final dive. But because of secrecy and Cold War paranoia, no definitive answer was ever released. To this day, the Scorpion rests deep in the dark, her story unfinished. Try this. Remember that sometimes unanswered questions aren't mysteries, they're the price of secrets too heavy to surface. Fast forward to 2017, different century, same ocean, same unforgiving silence. The ARA San Juan, an Argentine submarine with 44 crew members, was on patrol in the South Atlantic. On November 15, it reported a short circuit caused by seawater entering the battery compartment. Hours later, an explosion was detected underwater. The world waited, hoping it was an equipment glitch. It wasn't. What followed was a multinational search effort spanning months, dozens of ships, planes, and underwater drones scouring thousands of square miles. Families gathered daily, clinging to hope. But hope, like oxygen, eventually runs out. 1 year later, a private search vessel found the San Juan 900 meters below the surface, crushed inward, torn apart by the force of implosion. Investigators concluded that the sub's captain had followed protocol, reporting the fault and seeking to surface, but fate, as always, was faster. The San Juan's destruction was so sudden that the crew likely never knew what hit them. The tragedy sparked outrage, national mourning, and eventually reform in Argentina's naval operations. It also sparked solidarity. Nations that once competed in waters came together to find the lost. Try this. When something feels broken, speak up immediately. Silence might feel safe, but the deeper you wait, the harder it is to surface. And when you look across these stories, from the Kursk to the Scorpion to the San Juan, you start to see a pattern, not just of mechanical failure, but of human nature itself. The ocean doesn't forgive arrogance. It doesn't care about borders, politics, or pride. It's the ultimate equalizer. Every submarine that's gone down, whether from a single faulty wire or a chain of human errors, becomes a monument to both our brilliance and our fragility. The scariest thing isn't just the idea of drowning in darkness, it's the idea that, for all our technology, we're still guests down there, and the ocean decides when visiting hours are over. Try this. Next time life feels like it's crushing down on you, remember, pressure can destroy, but it can also forge. The key is knowing when to surface. And if you found yourself holding your breath through this journey, take a moment now to exhale and maybe hit that follow button. There are more stories waiting beneath the surface, where fear, courage, and curiosity all share the same depth.